Hello TPT sellers. If you have been on any Facebook group recently or in the forum or whatever, you probably have noticed that TPT is changing their search algorithm and you might have a lot of questions. I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of questions too, but I've done some research and they haven't told us a ton, but everything they have told us I've compiled together. So in this video, we're gonna talk about like what the changes are, how they're affecting you, some personal experience from different sellers on both ends of the spectrum, people who like it, people who don't like it, and also buyers that like it and don't like it, and also what you can do to make sure that your products are, you know, ranking as best they can and make sure that you're getting seen in search. So that's a lot of stuff we have to do. So let's get started. Okay, so TPT is rolling out a new search algorithm and it's currently in a testing phase. So they said they started with a small percentage of buyers and they're testing, doing A/B testing, where some people have the new search, some people have the old search algorithms, and they're seeing, you know, who is purchasing more, who's finding what they need, and all that good stuff. So right now, they're not rolling it out to everybody yet. It's just a small percentage of buyers that are currently getting this new algorithm, and they said if it works out well, then they'll expand it to more and more buyers, and if it doesn't, then they'll tweak it and continue to change things until, you know, it either works or it doesn't work and they scrap it. Now, the main thing about this search algorithm is that it is based on personalized searching. This is something that's used on lots of different websites like Amazon and like Google and like Pinterest. Y'all, if you're not on Pinterest, go to Pinterest, search, like pin something random that you've never pinned before, and then look at the next like 10 pins, because they will all be whatever that one thing was. And they do that like kind of crazy on Pinterest. So TPT is looking for kind of a similar thing. Basically, they just want teachers to be able to get what they need as best they can. So I teach elementary music. That means that my needs are different than a piano music teacher, or somebody who teaches high school choir, or someone who teaches middle school band. Like, we all teach music, but we have very different needs. So if a high school band director is looking for activities for half note, and I'm looking for activities for half note, we're gonna want very different things. And if a piano teacher is looking for activities for half note, she's gonna want something different than I do, because she has one student at a time and I have 30 or 32. Let me tell you, 32 fifth graders, not fun, because they're like grown people by then. Not fun, especially not when there's a fire drill. But that's not what we're here to talk about. You'd have different needs. So TPT wants to make sure that you're getting what you need. So for example, they used an example of geometry. You teach geometry in different grades. So someone who is teaching, you know, like shapes of triangles to second graders needs very different resources than someone who's teaching high school geography. Say hello to Nyla. Hello, Nyla. So TPT just wants to make sure everyone's finding what they need. And so that's why they're doing the personalization, so that the people who are teaching, you know, high school geography are seeing different things than the people teaching elementary geography, because they need different things. I meant geometry. Did I say geography? Geometry. I don't know. Both of them actually, because, you know, it works for everybody. So a couple of the things that they have said they're looking at is tailoring your search to your grades, your subjects, and different things like that. So specifically looking at filters that buyers have used. So if you're always filtering for 3rd and 4th grade, then they're gonna show you mostly 3rd and 4th grade stuff. If you're filtering for certain subjects, then they're gonna show mostly those subjects. It also says that they're taking into account purchase history, which I haven't seen a ton of detail about, but I'm assuming that that means that they're gonna look at products you have purchased and then, you know, suggest products that are maybe similar to those products. I would guess that probably means if you buy from certain sellers that you might see those sellers more often, but that is totally conjecture, just a guess, so pretend I never said that, but just an idea. So those are a couple of things that they are looking into, like filters, things that you've searched, and all of that. They also said it can change. So if you know, were teaching elementary, now you're teaching high school, and you start searching for different things, then they will change your search, you know, accordingly, so that you're not seeing things that are no longer relevant. Now, like I said, this is just rolling out to some buyers at the moment and not to everybody, so I wouldn't freak out too much. I did ask though on Instagram, and I got a lot of feedback of people on every spectrum on every side of the spectrum. So I did want to read off some of the things that people have said so far. So not everyone has the new search, but here's a couple of things that people have been saying. So we have a seller who says, my sales have been through the roof. Someone who says, on the buyer end, I feel like I am not having to sift through as much to find what I need, which is the exact point of said algorithm, is to help with that. Someone else said, I don't know if I'm affected, but I had 2 days in September where I earned $0, although not information about how much it normally makes. Seems to have helped me. Views are down, but conversion rate has doubled. Awesome for you. Last month was my highest sales yet. Maybe conversion rate will be higher. Huge increase in sales. I wonder if conversion rate plays a role in the new algorithm. Conversion rate pops up a lot. September was my best month. Noticeable jump in sales even compared to August. Just had my best month ever. It keeps showing me things I didn't search for. It's dumb. Which might be just kinks that they need to work out. All I'm hearing is complaints, but I'm doing well. I think it's affecting seasoned and new sellers. For new sellers, it sucks. Okay. Still unsure, and I hate it as a buyer, but as a seller, my sales are doing fine. So as you can see, it's kind of all over the place. And to be honest, right now, I feel like there's not enough data to really sufficiently say, like, oh, the new algorithm is what is making something do better or worse. Personally, I will say that my August and September were a lot higher than my previous months. But I like to think that that is based more on my efforts and how I have grown my email list by a lot, and how I have really like worked on making the right products for my buyers, and I have really worked on those kind of things. So it's hard to tell, like, okay, what is the algorithm's fault, or what is, you know, due to the algorithm, and what's due to all those things that I've been working on, and what's due to all the things, you know, that I have done over the years to make sure that that's happening. So honestly, although there are things on both sides of the spectrum, the buyer, I think, is more interesting. I don't think I'm part of it yet because it didn't look like it when I was like searching for things recently, but there's no way to know, frankly.
All right, friends, a little update. The day after I filmed this video, I was actually doing quite a bit of searching on TPT because, you know, I just needed all the clip art. And I did notice that my search looked a lot different than it did in the past. So I don't know for sure that I'm, you know, included in it, but it did seem different to me. One thing I noticed is that sellers I purchased from a lot seem to be up at the top. And then I agree with the person who said, I see a lot of things that I am not searching for. So a lot of things have been like suggested that are maybe not what I'm actually looking for, which was a bit frustrating. I'm assuming that's something that will be worked out and changed in the future. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
But honestly, there's just not enough data at the moment to be able to tell like yes or no. It's like the algorithm has done this or has done that. Especially with it only being rolled out to some people at the moment. That's not, again, not a lot of data to tell us enough about how it's affecting us personally. With all that being said, it's great to sit here and be like, oh yeah, there's a new algorithm, and some people love to talk about the algorithm. That's always like, I hear it on Instagram a lot, like, oh, the algorithm didn't like that video, and I'm like, yeah, okay. There's a lot of things that go into those kind of things, and so it's not like just, you know, one size fits all, especially when they're changing it, especially when they're just testing out something. So what can you actually do, because you know I'm all about the practical things, to make sure that your resources are showing up? Here's a couple of things that are best practices always, but are especially important now with all these changes coming. You want to make sure that your resources are getting seen. So make sure that you're doing the next couple of things. Number one, make sure that you're tagging things properly. So if your resources are for 3rd grade, you should not be tagging 7th or 8th grade, even if they teach similar things, because 3rd graders and 8th graders are not the same, and they should not have that. I teach music, and so frankly, a lot of my stuff could be used in college or in high school or in middle school or in elementary school or homeschooled. Like, it could be used in a lot of different things, but my target audience is elementary music, and so I know with my elementary students who I kind of use different things with, and I tag accordingly. And you want it to be accurate, because the more you can tag more accordingly, the better it's gonna work. So even don't think about it as like you're leaving people out. Think of it as, who is my ideal person, and then tag that one and maybe the one above and the one below. That's kind of how I do it. TPT does So make sure you're tagging those things correctly. Also with categories, like making sure that you are tagging, you know, like with the, oh, what are they called? Like the printables and the assessments and like the, I think it's resource type. Make sure that that is accurate as well so that people can see that. And just that all those things that you're tagging in there are relevant. If you are tagging standards, tag only relevant standards and all those good things to make sure that they are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. TPT is using all that data to help connect buyers with your products. And so if you're tagging things that are not correct, they're not gonna be purchased, and then TPT is gonna be like, oh, people don't like that one. Number 2 is making sure that your search terms are specific, relevant, and that you have them in the correct places. So when you are creating a resource, you want to look at your title and your description and all of those and make sure that you have certain search terms, whatever your product is about. So if your product is about fractions, it should probably say fractions somewhere in there. If your product is a task card, you should probably have task card in there. So that's basically what a search term is what are people typing in. With those search terms, you'll hear people call them keywords, and you'll also hear talk about long tail keywords. That's a really fancy saying of a more specific keyword. So instead of fractions task cards, or fractions task cards for 3rd grade. Those are long tail keywords and they're much more specific than just fractions. So the idea is making sure that you have those longer phrases that people might type in your title and in your description so that people are able to find them. Now, we don't want to be weird about it. So you don't want to like write fractions task cards for 3rd grade 85 times in your description. No. And you do not want to do, they actually came out and said, do not put a box at the bottom with all your keywords on there because they call that keyword stuffing and they don't like it. But do have your keywords in your title and have it at least once in your description, preferably at the beginning. With this, I also think about related things. So if you're gonna be using your task cards during centers, make sure that you say centers somewhere in your description. If they can be used as assessments, make sure you have assessments somewhere in there. You know, all of those things. If it can be used as subplans, make sure you have subplans somewhere in there. Even sometimes I have things that aren't meant to be subplans, but they could be subplans. And so I'll even write, this can be used in a regular music classroom, or you can use it as a subplan. So those are kind of ways that you can do that, and just have them throughout, but make sure that they're like conversational and they make sense and they are not weird. But making sure that you have, you know, you think about what people are typing in as you are doing them. If you're confused, you can always like type into the TPT search bar and see what auto populates and see if those are relevant to yours, because those are things that people are typing. So if you're doing fractions, you can type in fractions and then see what pops up in the next couple ones and make sure you're using those terms. Really, you just think, what are people typing in to get this thing? But having search terms and having all those things in there, like I always put elementary music in my descriptions, and I always put, you know, different things like that. And if I have room in my title, a lot of times I'll put in elementary music in my title. And again, piano teachers could use my stuff, college professors could use my stuff, but I'm shooting for elementary music teachers. So even though I'm happy for any of those people to buy my stuff, I'm shooting for elementary music teachers, so that's what I'm focused on. Next one isn't quite as search related, but it's more related to like people actually buying your products, and that is make sure that your conversion rates are good by working on your previews, making sure you have those previews, the video previews, you got, you know, actual pictures, you have thumbnails, you have a good description where it's very detailed about what is included in your product, because the better your conversion rate is across any place, the better your conversion rate is, you're probably gonna rank better because people are landing on your stuff and actually buying it. If people are landing on your stuff and not buying it, then TPT is gonna be like, oh, no one likes this product. But if they land on your stuff and purchase it, then TPT will know that they do like it. They haven't come out and said that conversion rates are important, but I'm just, you know, hypothesizing that that's probably something that is a really big deal, because it frankly is a big deal. TPT wants to send teachers to resources that they're gonna like. So if your product has a really high conversion rate, then they're like, oh, teachers like this product, so I should send them to that person and to that product. Now, a good conversion rate is a whole big thing. Across the internet as a whole, 1 to 3% is pretty good. On TPT, it tends to be more like 3 to 6% is pretty good. So I don't really stress about it unless it gets under like 2 or 3. And even then, I don't worry about it too much. But I say that because I saw in a Facebook group, someone was like, I can't believe I only have like a 10% conversion rate. And everyone was like, that's amazing. Like, what are you talking about? And this person was just new, they just didn't know. So a good conversion rate, shooting for like 3 to 6%, more is always great, but don't be like too stressed if it's, you know, not 50% or anything crazy like that, because that's not a thing. Anyway, if you want to make sure your conversion rates are good, then you want to look at your product description, your product previews, your thumbnails, and all that stuff, and make sure that they are showcasing why people need to purchase your product, what's included in your product, but really that transformation of like, what is this product going to do for you? So is this product going to help your kids have fun while they learn math? Great, talk about that. Is this gonna help like all your students because it's super differentiated? Great, talk about that. Whatever the outcome and like the benefit of it is going to be what you want to showcase when you're using your description and your previews and all that. I always suggest that you use everything at your disposal, so previews and a video and description and thumbnails as much as you can. You don't have to use everything, but if you want to give your product, you know, the best chance, then I would suggest you use everything at your disposal by using all of those things to really showcase your resources. And lastly, to help you make sure that you are, you know, coming out on top of this new algorithm, is what I call BYOT. Bring your own traffic. Now, technically this doesn't actually have to do with the algorithm, but you can always bring your own traffic. Do not rely on TPT for everything. Yes, I love TPT. I do TPT, I purchase things off TPT, I love TPT. And I love that they do so much of the work that I don't have to do, because I don't have to write search algorithms and I don't have to do all that. And they have a lot of people who go to TPT to purchase things, which is the main benefit I see of TPT. However, there's only so much that they can do. So I am a huge proponent of bringing your own traffic. And by that I mean bringing people to TPT from your blog, from your YouTube channel, from your email list, from Instagram, from TikTok, from whatever you're using. Bring your own traffic, because that's something you can control. You can't actually control where you land on the search algorithm. Yes, you can do SEO tweaks. Yes, you can work on your conversion rates. Yes, you can make awesome products. But at the end of the day, you can also bring your own people from another platform and make money that way. So yes, do all those things, but also think about how you can bring your own traffic so that you're less reliant on TPT, especially when search algorithms start to change. All right, I'm gonna go and take care of these puppers, but I'm super curious to know if you have any if you've noticed anything with the new algorithm, whether that's on a buyer or a seller side. So let me know those things down below in the comments.